Hi, it's Lindsay Mader with the Texas Bar TV, and I'm sitting here with Matthew Butterick, and he's the author of the book and website, Typography for Lawyers. And he just got done giving a CLE presentation at the Texas Law Center in Austin. Thanks so much for sitting down with us today. Sure. Can you start by explaining what typography is?
Typography, I talk about typography as being the visual component of the written word, in the sense that every time we see a word, we've got the text of it, and if we're speaking or listening, there's always text. But when a word is printed, then we can see it, and that's typography. The choices that go into making it visible.
Mm-hmm. And so that would be like font and the curvature of quotes and that sort of thing.
Sure. I mean, fonts are a big part of typography, as I always want to point out to people that typography involves a lot more than fonts. I mean, it's all the decisions that you make when you're putting words on the page, whether it's font or the size of the font or the spacing between lines or the page margins, and it goes on and on from there.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point to make. To wrap up, what would you say if you had to choose your number one typographical pet peeve in legal writing? Or maybe if you can't choose one, maybe your top three, what would those be?
I'll choose one because I do have one. And sometimes people think I'm going to say it's the use of Times New Roman, or the fact that lawyers use two spaces between sentences, which is wrong, and lawyers want to argue with me. But that's not really, I don't get bent out of shape about that one, because in the end it doesn't really make that much difference on the page. I just like to point out to lawyers that they are departing from professional habit. The one that gets me the most is probably the overuse of capital letters. Mm-hmm. And the reason that bothers me, because lawyers, capital letters are wonderful. We've had them for a long time. They're great for things that are maybe a line or two of text. But it's not uncommon to see lawyers capitalizing whole sentences or paragraphs, and certainly we've all gotten consumer contracts where it just seems like acres of capital letters. The problem with capital letters is that they're self-defeating, right? In the sense that why do people use capital letters? Because they're trying to emphasize something. They're trying to bring the reader's attention to it. But in fact, because capital letters are so much harder for us to read just visibly on the page, we're more acclimated to reading lowercase, they actually have the opposite effect. When we see a paragraph of all caps, we just want to skip right over it, be like, oh, that's like bleach in my eyes. Let's not. So it ends up having the exact opposite effect. So if I had a magic wand, that would be the one habit I would cure lawyers of.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's very interesting, and I know we see that a lot too, so I'm glad you mentioned it. Well, I guess that's all the time we have today, so thank you again. And Matthew Butterick's website is Typography for Lawyers. Check it out. Thank you.
Thank you.